Hi Reddit. I'm Zach, 31M, and until a few nights ago, I thought I was engaged to the love of my life. Now, I'm just trying to figure out who the hell I was actually dating. Let me back it up. I met Kayla 3 years ago at a mutual friend's wedding. She was loud, sarcastic, funny as hell. I was the quiet guy in the corner, nursing a beer and trying not to look like I hated everyone. She walked up to me and said, "You look like you're mentally screaming." I laughed. That was it. We started dating a month later. She moved in after 6. Fast forward to now, we're engaged. The wedding was 6 months away. Dress bought, venue booked, deposits down. My parents were thrilled. Hers a little less so. They always looked at me like I was the fallback guy. I ignored it. Mistake number 1. I'm not rich, but I've got a solid job in IT, own a condo, and have decent savings. Kayla, on the other hand, has bounced between freelance gigs and launching a brand for years. I supported her, gladly. I believed in her, covered rent some months, helped her buy a new laptop, paid for most of the wedding stuff. I didn't mind. That's what you do for someone you love, right? Apparently not. Last Friday, she was in the shower. Her phone buzzed next to me on the couch. Group chat. Girls from her old marketing job. Usually I'd ignore it. I'm not the type to snoop. But one message preview popped up that said, "Does Zach still think you're marrying him out of love?" I froze. I don't know what got into me. Maybe instinct. Maybe rage. Maybe fear. But I opened the phone. And what I saw, I swear my whole body went cold. The group chat was brutal. Kayla, he's just a buffer. The supportive phase. Every girl needs one. Another friend. OMG, stop face with tears of joy the wallet stage. Kayla, exactly. After the trauma guy and before the real one. Zach equals stabilizer, money bag, credit card, nail polish. And then this one, which felt like a dagger. He's not the one. He's the one that helps me get to the one. I couldn't breathe. She wasn't venting. She wasn't joking. She was crafting a strategy. A few more scrolls, and I found them talking about my job, my family, even our wedding. One message said, "He's covering most of it, which is great. Less to split when I'm out." Out. Like she was already planning her exit before we'd even said "I do." I locked her phone, sat in silence. I wish I could say I exploded, yelled, stormed out, but all I felt was this sinking weight in my stomach, like someone pulled the ground out from under me, and I was free falling through the realization that I'd been living in a lie. When she came out of the bathroom, towel on her head, humming some pop song, I looked at her and I didn't even see her anymore. Just a stranger, smiling, drying her hair, planning her future without me, funded by me. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I acted like everything was normal. Ate dinner, watched Netflix, slept next to her, because I needed time to think, to plan, to not explode. Because if I was going to walk away, I wasn't going to do it while still looking like the temporary wallet. The next day, I took a personal day from work. First, I went to the bank and froze our joint savings account. Second, I called the wedding venue and asked how much of the deposit was refundable. Third, I talked to a friend of mine, a lawyer, and asked what I needed to do to protect my condo, since I'd stupidly added Kayla to some documents when we got engaged. Spoiler, another mistake. That night, I told her I had a guy's night. She smiled and said, "Have fun, babe. Love you." I didn't say it back. I drove around for hours, sat in a parking lot eating gas station jerky, staring at the screenshots I'd sent to myself from her group chat. And I kept asking myself one question. How did I not see this coming? The answer? Because I didn't want to. Because I thought if I loved her enough, supported her enough, believed in her enough, she'd mean it when she said she loved me back. But she didn't. She just loved the comfort, the stability, the safety net. She loved what I did for her, not who I was to her. I didn't sleep that night. My brain kept playing it over and over. Her messages, the laughing emojis, the way she used my name like I was a placeholder. A wallet. A stabilizer. God, that word kept echoing in my head like a sick joke. I watched her sleep next to me, peacefully, like nothing was wrong. Like she wasn't building a life funded by me, without me in it. The next morning, she made coffee and acted like everything was fine. She even showed me some stupid meme about a dog wearing glasses, giggling like nothing had happened. I just smiled. "That's funny," I said. What I wanted to say was, Can't wait to see you try to pay for Wi-Fi with sarcasm. But I kept it cool, because if I was going to walk out of this, I was going to walk out strong, not screaming. Step 1. I went to the bank. I pulled almost all the money from our joint savings account. Left her a clean $100. Enough to make her think everything was fine until it wasn't. Step 2. I met with my buddy John, who happens to be a damn good lawyer. I explained the situation, the texts, the fake love, the setup. His response? She's on your property documents? Bro, we're fixing that today. He helped me file the paperwork to remove her name from my condo title. Nothing shady, just legally correcting a mistake before a marriage that clearly wasn't happening anymore. That evening, Kayla came home with a new cashmere sweater and a smug little smile like she just manifested luxury with her energy. She kissed me on the cheek and said, "I don't know how I got so lucky with you." I smiled back. Yeah, me neither. Later, when she was curled up in bed with her laptop, I sat down beside her. My heart was pounding. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Do you think it's okay to call your fiancé a temporary wallet in a group chat?" Her entire body tensed. "What are you talking about?" "You, Jess, Emma. Zach's just a buffer. Stabilizer phase. Ring a bell." She blinked, froze, swallowed. Then, "And this is real," she had the audacity to say. "Wait, you went through my phone?" I laughed. I mean, really laughed. "You're kidding, right? I saw you talking about me like a paycheck with a pulse. And your first concern is privacy?" She stammered. Try to spin it. "It was just stupid girl talk. I didn't mean it. We joke like that. So you weren't planning to leave after the wedding? You weren't mocking the guy paying for your future?" Silence. Then, quietly, "I didn't know how to stop it. You were so good to me, and I felt guilty. I panicked. So, you planned a wedding with me, and joked about what you'd get out of the divorce." No answer. Her lip trembled. "I know I messed up," she whispered, "but I really do love you." I just stared at her. And you know what's messed up? A part of me, a sick, stupid part, wanted to believe her. Wanted to go, "Okay, you were scared. I get it. Let's fix this." But then I remembered that text. His insurance is decent. Maybe I could get a baby out of it before I bail. Yeah. No. I stood up. "I'm not your wallet. I'm not your stepping stone. And I sure as hell am not your insurance plan." She started crying. "Please, Zach, don't do this. I don't want to lose you. This was just me being insecure." I nodded. "Cool. You could be insecure somewhere else. The wedding's off. The bank account's locked. You're off the lease. You've got until Friday to move out." Boom. Full meltdown. Sobbing. Screaming. Accusing me of throwing away 3 years. "You did that the second you turned me into a group chat joke," I said. "I'm just taking out the trash." I left the room while she was still crying. I didn't slam the door. I didn't yell. I just walked away. And you know what? It was the first time in years I felt quiet inside. Kayla didn't move out by Friday. Of course she didn't. Instead, she played the role of repentant fiancé, like it was an Oscar nomination. She stayed up late crying, left notes on my pillow, made coffee every morning, my coffee order, not hers. Even tried to initiate a serious talk on the couch where she once laughed about me behind my back. "Zach, please, don't throw this away. I know I messed up, but I can fix it. I swear I can fix it." I listened. I nodded, but I didn't say yes. Because I'd seen too much. She tried everything. Cooked dinner badly. Cleaned the place aggressively. Wore the hoodie she stole from me in year 1. You know, the one, that "I'm still your girl" move. But every time she said, "I love you," it sounded like a pitch. Like a presentation on why I should invest another year in a startup that already filed for bankruptcy. And worst of all, she still wasn't telling me the whole truth. On Sunday, I caught her whispering on the phone in the hallway. I was in the bedroom with the door cracked. She didn't know I could hear. No, he doesn't know about that part. I'm just trying to keep him calm until I figure out what to do. No, I can't just tell him now. He'd lose it. I stepped out mid-call. She froze. I didn't say anything, just looked her dead in the eyes. She ended the call quickly, pretended it was her mom, and said, "She's just worried about me. She thinks I'm falling apart." "You are," I said, "but not in the way she thinks." She opened her mouth to speak, but I walked past her and out the door. That night, I texted my friend Josh, who's in cyber forensics. I told him I needed to recover deleted messages off Kayla's phone, stuff she'd likely wiped after I found a group chat. He sent me a few tools. Nothing illegal, just tech savvy. The next day, while Kayla was running errands, I used a backup from her old iCloud login. She had used my laptop once months ago and never removed the auto login. What I found made my stomach turn. There were more chats, not just with her friends, with a guy named Alex M. The same name I remembered from her branding project last summer. Back then, she said he was helping her launch a consulting thing. They had Zoom calls, meetings, a late-night brainstorming session she swore was just grind culture. Turns out, Alex wasn't just a business partner. He was the real plan. Their chats started about strategy and ended with heart emojis and subtle sexting. Nothing too explicit, but enough to make it clear. He wasn't just helping her find her brand. He was the exit plan. One message from 2 months ago said, "Once the wedding's done and your accounts are merged, we can finally breathe. Can't wait to build something real." Another, "Zach will be fine. He's dependable. He'll land on his feet." I sat there reading and rereading, pulse pounding. It wasn't just betrayal. It was long-term, premeditated betrayal. She wasn't confused. She wasn't scared. She was strategizing. I was the safety net until she could jump to Alex. I didn't confront her that night. I waited, watched her pretend to care, listened to her fake concern about how cold I'd become, observed how her eyes flicked toward her phone every few minutes, like she was waiting for instructions. I slept like a baby, and the next morning, I made her breakfast. She looked surprised when I brought her eggs and toast. "You made this?" she asked cautiously. "Yeah, thought I'd do something nice." She looked like she wanted to believe me, needed to believe me. "Are we okay?" she asked slowly. "Getting there," I said, smiling. While she ate, I packed her stuff. Silently, efficiently. She didn't realize it until I rolled the suitcase into the living room. "What is this?" she asked, standing up. "Your exit strategy. Activated." She went pale. "Zach, save it." I read the messages. All of them. Her mouth opened, closed. "You're going to marry me, merge our accounts, and dip with your backup plan." That was the play, right? Tears filled her eyes. It wasn't real. It was real enough to plan it, to talk about it, to string me along while you kept one eye on your next upgrade. She started to cry again. I didn't flinch. "You didn't love me. You love what I gave you. Comfort, stability, a nice condo, a wedding, a man who doesn't raise his voice. But that guy, he's gone." She begged. She screamed, said I was overreacting, said she was just fantasizing and that she never would have gone through with it. Maybe that's true, but you don't accidentally build an escape route and pack a parachute. I helped her carry the bags down to the Uber I called. She asked if she could hug me goodbye. I said no. She stood there in the driveway, crying, holding her phone like a weapon that misfired. I turned and walked back inside, shut the door, and this time, I locked it. The morning after I kicked Kayla out was peaceful. For the first time in months, the apartment felt still. No passive-aggressive clinking of dishes, no fake sighs during deep work sessions, no random Amazon packages arriving with stuff she forgot to tell me she ordered. Just quiet. I made my own breakfast, ate it while watching the sunrise over the city skyline from my little balcony. I wasn't sad. I wasn't angry. I was just clear, like I'd finally finished wiping months of fog off a mirror and could finally see myself again. I spent the next few days cleaning out the apartment, physically and emotionally. Got rid of her junk, canceled the wedding vendors, returned the tux I hadn't even tried on, called my mom and told her what happened. She was silent for a moment. Then she just said, "I'm proud of you." That hit me harder than anything Kayla ever said. Then, 3 days after I kicked her out, I got the message from a number I didn't recognize. It said, "Hey, Zach, I think we should talk. I owe you that much. Alex M." At first, I just stared at the screen. Like, who the hell does this guy think he is? But then curiosity won. So I responded, "Talk? About what? My ex-fiancé or your career in being a human red flag?" He replied instantly, "Fair. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll come to you. No games. Now listen. A week ago, I would have said no, blocked the number, buried the conversation, and moved on. But I wasn't the same guy anymore. So I said, fine. But 5 minutes only. You say one slick word, and I'll toss you over the railing. He showed up that afternoon. Average guy, mid-30s, designer jeans, well-groomed, the kind of guy who uses expensive cologne and actually reads book blurbs before posting them on Instagram. We sat on opposite ends of my couch. He didn't look smug. He didn't posture. He looked uncomfortable. First of all, he said, "I didn't know she was with you when we first started talking." I raised an eyebrow. "Right? I'm serious," he said. "She told me you were fading out, that you weren't sleeping together, that you were basically roommates with a ring." I didn't respond. I wanted to hear where this was going. We got close. I was stupid. She said she wanted out, but didn't know how. Then she mentioned your accounts, the wedding, the condo, and I started realizing she had no intention of ending things clean. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "I ended it 3 weeks ago." I paused. "Before I even found out?" He nodded. "Yeah." She started hinting at merging finances, using my name for business filings. It felt off. Then he handed me something. A flash drive. "What's this?" I asked. He hesitated. "Screenshots. Voice memos. Stuff she sent me. I figured you might want to know everything." Now listen, I didn't need closure. But evidence? That's a different story. I took the drive. He stood up. "For what it's worth," he said at the door, "you deserved better." I didn't know what I was walking into, but I know what I walked out of. Then he left. I didn't open the flash drive for 2 days. Something in me was afraid. Like if I clicked into it, I'd fall back into the chaos, into the sadness, into the version of me who always tried to understand her instead of protecting me. But eventually I opened it, and what I heard changed everything. The screenshots were bad. Conversations about playing me, even debating how long she should wait after the wedding before easing out. Cold, calculated stuff. But the voice memo? That one made my skin crawl. It was her voice, giggling. No, he has no clue. I mean, he thinks we're planning this wedding together, but honestly, it's just his warm-up round. I can't marry a guy who calls grilled cheese his signature meal. I need someone who doesn't own Crocs, you know? And then, but he's sweet. He worships me. It's actually kind of addicting. Like being loved by a Labrador with a paycheck. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just closed the file and smiled. Because now I had everything. Not just proof, but leverage. I didn't want revenge. Not really. I just want to make damn sure no one else ever got played the way I did. The next morning, I sent Kayla one message. "Just listen to your voice memo. That was cute. I'll let you know if your next employer wants a character reference." 5 minutes later, she called. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. Apologies. Explanations. Threats. Guilt. More apologies. Blocked. I emailed the venue and asked to redirect the deposit to a charity for women recovering from emotional abuse. Felt symbolic. I canceled our wedding website and replaced the main page with "Event canceled. Groom upgraded." Petty? Maybe. But it felt amazing. I started posting car videos again. Fixed up a Mustang that had been sitting in the shop for months. Got a few offers from auto influencers who liked my calm chaos story. Turns out, people love a man who walks away with receipts in class. It's been 5 weeks since I kicked her out. No more crying on the floor. No more messages from friends asking, "Are you okay?" No more waking up wondering if I'm being used, lied to, or set up to be a stepping stone for someone else's better life. For the first time in years, I wake up knowing exactly who I am, and more importantly, who I'm not. Kayla tried everything. Emails, burner numbers, voicemails through her mom's phone. Even sent me a handwritten letter like we were in some tragic Netflix romance. The letter was the worst of it. Page after page of apologies. "I never meant to hurt you. I lost myself. You were the best thing that ever happened to me." It almost got me. Almost. Until I remembered the voice memo. He's like a Labrador with a paycheck. That sentence? That's the lock on the vault. Every time I think about softening, I hear it. And the vault stays sealed. I never responded. Not because I was angry. Because I was done. Because some endings don't need fireworks. They just need silence. A week ago, I got lunch with Greg, my manager. He'd heard about the canceled wedding. "Tough break," he said. I told him a very sanitized version. Caught her cheating. Long-term plan. Used me. I got out. He just shook his head. "Well, You handled it cleaner than most guys would have. He's right. I never posted screenshots online. Never exposed her to mutual friends. Never sent the voice memo to her parents. Even though I could have. But here's the thing. Revenge is loud. Closure is quiet. And I wasn't trying to ruin her life. I was trying to reclaim mine. Instead of trashing her online, I did something better. I told my story without her name. I wrote a post on Reddit. Just the truth. No bitterness. No victim energy. Just facts, heartbreak, and reflection. It blew up. People resonated. Some were angry for me. Some shared their own wallet phase stories. One guy even said, "You saved me from proposing to my girlfriend tomorrow." I canceled it. That hit hard. Then, something I didn't expect happened. A woman, let's call her Maya, messaged me. No flirty emojis. No, "Hey stranger." Just, that story hit way too close. If you ever want to grab coffee and talk to someone who's been through the same thing, my treat. I sat on that message for 2 days. Not because I wasn't interested. Because I wasn't sure if I was ready to let someone in again, even casually. But eventually I replied, "Sure, I like that." We met at a coffee shop last weekend. She was calm, grounded, funny in a quiet, observant way. Told me her ex drained her emotionally and financially, all while pretending to be her protector. Sounded different from my situation, but felt exactly the same. We talked for 2 hours. Not once did either of us ask about jobs, salaries, status, or Instagram handles. It was just two people who'd been cracked open by betrayal and were figuring out how to rebuild without resentment. We've texted since. No plans. No pressure. Just a few "hope your day's going okay" messages. It's nice. It feels human. Real. As for Kayla, last I heard, she tried to reconnect with Alex. Spoiler, he ghosted her. Hard. Apparently, once the fantasy crumbled and the future got real, he remembered that he liked her in screenshots, not in reality. She tried moving back in with her parents, but they weren't exactly thrilled. Her mom sent me a message once, asking if I could just talk to her, help her find closure. I didn't respond, because Kayla didn't need me for closure. She needed a mirror. I still have a flash drive. I don't listen to it, but I keep it, not as a threat, not as evidence, as a reminder that trust isn't something you give because someone smiles at you. It's something you guard until they've proven they know what it's worth. So, here's where I'll end this. If you're reading this and you're the stabilizer, the quiet provider, the steady hand, the one everyone relies on but no one chooses, don't stay where you're tolerated just because you're scared to be alone. Alone isn't empty. Alone is clean. Alone is the soil before something real can grow. Kayla called me her wallet phase. Fine, because I cashed out, and I walked away richer than ever, just not in the way she measured. See you later.